I rang a man for his 90th birthday, and I said to him, what does it feel like to be 90? And without a pause, he replied, same as it was when I was 60. He could have told me that over the years he'd had to cross many difficult rivers. He could have told me how many zones of life had treated him badly. He could have told me how he could have been diminished by the prejudice of so many people. But instead, the very core of his being divulged a strength, a confidence, an inner coherence. Chronological age did not affect that stream of continuity of who he was. I took down Howard Gardner's book, which is called Leading Minds, an anatomy of leadership. And I turned again to the chapter on Eleanor Roosevelt, acknowledged as one of the greatest of American women. And she wrote, "About the only value the story of my life may have to show is that one can, without any particular gift, overcome obstacles that may seem insurmountable. In spite of a lack of special talents," she wrote, "one can find a way to live widely and fully." Now, I believe this is something of immense importance, that any one of us can feel that we are of no significance, that we may doubt our capacities, that we may be driven to believe that we have little self-confidence. In fact, I run into people again and again who tell me that they've lived their life as a mouse. I gently remind them, if I can, that mice have fantastic energy, that they care tenderly for their young, and that they keep searching for better ways to survive. So don't denigrate the mouse when you look at yourself. In any case, the Old Testament case study of Joseph said it very clearly. From earliest childhood, as you heard, he was the brunt of his brother's nastiness, and had only his father to protect him, and even his father was helpless against the resentful violence of his other sons. But the Joseph case study showed that Joseph was able to get his life together, to discover new strengths, and become a compassionate, purposeful person for many. But again and again, this is not our story. We can still be living under the tyranny of other people's demands and expectations, of other people's envy, of other people's rejection, going so far as to forget who we are and who we once were. There is this paradox within our culture. We want our children to have a good, flourishing self, good, strong personality. But we can be highly critical when they become self-assertive, when they become self-confident, when they become self-assured, when they become too full of the, oh, did you get that word? Too full. The word too, you see, there it is. I've at last inserted it amongst those other words of confidence, assertiveness, although we do not overtly say it, because we're rather frightened of the word self. We don't want to put the self too far forward. And so we cannot openly develop a harmonious sense of self, where our self-narcissism is balanced with a positive, caring empathy. where our self-grandiosity is balanced with a strong, constructive community building. And people, you see, don't need to be cringing around, feeling guilty that they believe in themselves, that they believe in their self-worth. Recently, I made an astonishing visit to an astonishing exhibition of children's art. It was astonishing because every entry in it was amazingly creative. It was astonishing because of the brilliant explosion of colour all around me. And it was astonishing because the 82 children who put their paintings in that exhibition were 3 years of age, 4 years of age, no more than 5 years of age. And the further astonishing thing about it was this, that only 3 of them painted themselves. Only 3 of them said, "This is me." Now, I'm not saying that the rest of them were all potential candidates for the history of low self-worth for the rest of their lives. I only mention it. Mention it because that's what I saw. Many of the paintings were an expression of self-identity, self-worth, self-confidence. You see, even from the earliest years to our later years in life, the expression of self, the experience of self, are the major ingredients of our happiness, of our social comfort, of our social adequacy, our life, our existence. The experience of self is what the meaning of life can be about. The mood that we tuck around it, the confidence and hope that we bring to it, the sense of purpose and goodness we bring to life. It's all about the self. And yet we get so awkward about the self. I'm rather interested that there's another exhibition in the town hall gallery at the moment, where 2 Greek Australian artists have a display of their art. And what are they saying? Their art is about understanding themselves at this time of their life, understanding themselves in this city, understanding themselves as people who've come out of one tradition and religious tradition and noticing what goes on in the wider secular religious world of this city. So there the self-understanding becomes so vital to all of our lives. Of course, many people would be quick to say, well, the church service on Sunday morning is hardly the place to learn about your self-worth or your self-understanding, your self-confidence or your self-strengths. But let us change that. Let us change that. Where else are you going to learn it? Where are you going to learn those things that are absolutely vital to your life, vital to your work, vital to your relationships? Most of us, unfortunately, wait till we have a problem with ourselves. We've lost our confidence. Our self has been injured, or there's an impairment in the self. There's a distress has come our way, and we don't feel good. We can't understand ourselves anymore. Where will we get our self-worth and our self-strengths? It's for this reason that I want to take the month of September and put a great deal of emphasis into this major concern of every human being. You see, most of us will go, when we are impaired or affected or damaged, we'll go off to the psychiatrist or the psychologist. But they often do not have the most important ingredient to give us, found in the great legends and the great myths of the scriptures and other literature of the ages. Psychiatrist George Vaillant is an exception.